most important rules.
Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I got this live and I wanted you to see it because I went to it. I'll cut to the chase. I think what they're doing is pre-game role play, Dungeons and Dragons live stream. See, they've got a set board right there. And then these guys are all talking about it, okay? And they're talking about, I guess, two characters in the room, what they're doing. And then to the right, they have a number here, like a 7 or something. It's possible what they're doing is kind of doing a role play where the game is not actually playing yet. I know some people have a pre-release game that they're playing or doing like segments from. It doesn't come out until November, okay? These guys, I think they're from Europe, but it looks like what they're doing is some type of pre-game role play rollout or something of like Dungeons and Dragons. They're not necessarily doing hit points and dice rolls, okay? But they're talking about this with a game board on the screen there, okay? I couldn't figure out what was going on, but I think that's what's going on. And then, in addition to that, I've had a total amount of trouble because I thought Cyberpunk was going to be on Stadia. I had a little bit of money, at about $25, $26. I had a Target gift card for $10. Prime Day is coming up tomorrow, which I think I have a credit on there that could possibly be increased. And so somehow I thought, I somehow got the Stadia app on the iPhone, and there's a subscription. I thought I'll go buy the Google Play gift cards and pay for it because, you know, I don't have the debit or the credit card to be able to pay, and it all got fouled up. The first card was a $25 card. The scratcher that also peels off took off the number. I had to fix that. So basically, after a long story, I put a little bit of money on Amazon, and I have money on Google Play, but I can't buy the Chromecast, and I can't buy the Stadia subscription. So I'm pretty much just going to stick to what I got with Final Fantasy and wait until Prime Day tomorrow. I don't even have enough to buy any other, really, I mean, you know, any of the other sort of what I thought would be games on Amazon Fire. It looks like Amazon Fire Stick is going to pretty much go away in terms of games. They just, I mean, they have a few titles, but they're not really releasing that much, which pretty much leaves like Google Play or Stadia, I guess, as they're launching. Obviously, you know, maybe go back to all console play. But Cyberpunk 2077 with the big Keanu Reeves rollout has been delayed like a year or two now. And so I was a little bit frustrated. I sent an email to my dad because I'm like, what am I going to do? I got money here, I got money there, I got money there, you know, on credits and gift cards and everything. Some of the money I put on it, some of the money's discounts, some of the money is, you know, rewards and stuff between Amazon, Target, and Google Play. And so, you know, I pretty much just have to just kind of deal with it now. And the consoles are so expensive. You know, you'll barely be able to get a console at $299 if you pay tax in your state. Otherwise, it goes right up to $399 and even $499, and you don't know what the benefit is between any of them. So, and the game titles are $50 to $60, $70 for a title. And even on Stadia, if you don't get the subscription, which I couldn't get, the game title bundles are $79, $89, $99 for a bundle of games. So I was just kind of at the end of it, but I turned this on. I wanted to see what these guys are talking about because they're kind of doing. I kind of figured it out right at the end.
Chris here, so yeah, you can roll for damage here because you win this roll. You get a 7. So he doesn't have any armor. This is gonna injure him a bit. But actually, oh man, my bad. You have a -3 modifier. So it was actually 18-18 because you're still fearing this guy. You haven't defeated him yet. So my bad. Error judgment there. So what does that mean? Does defender win if it's 18-18?
It has to. Defender wins if it's the same. So is it?
It's the same because he's got -3 modifier. And he won the face down. So defender wins. So he dodges that, right?
Yeah, he barely dodges it. Yeah.
He barely does. So yeah, he barely just slides away. He sort of skips, right? Like, you know, he's got hardly any hair, but like he sort of touches the top of his head. And he's gonna fucking man out of here, man. Fucking help me, dog. And that situation is going on. Now we can I think were you the last guy to have his turn? Because I was going to go to someone else. But I think, what is Connor doing in the late afternoon? Is he just chilling in his apartment?
Yeah, he's probably he'll have gone back, fixed up some food, sat in front of the TV, feet up, and a cold beer.
Alright, well...
He thinks his days...
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm obviously not going to get mad at you. You don't know the situation is happening. But... Yeah, that's the thing. Dozer's going to be on his own in this situation. He's got a bit of a clusterfuck to deal with. Now, I don't suppose any of you are going to call him over to the pub anytime soon, because it is getting evening time while this is happening. So, again, we're being a little meta here, but is anyone calling Rothan, making sure he's going to come over? Because the pub thing, like, I'm presuming he's going to be coming to the Renegades band thing, whatever.
I'll have an alarm set so that I won't miss that.
Alright, well, because that's happening very soon, and again, it's up to you guys if you're going to be calling Dozer.
I would, but I don't know about the gig, so I can't call him for that. But if anybody does call him, Blue Jay does know that I can kick ass if needed, so...
Yeah, I would call the gang over. Me and Renegade talked a lot, and I wanted to go, and so I will call. Let's see. I will roll a d10 to see which one of you two I call first.
So what's this check for?
DD.
Is it for your agent? Like you're just yeah.
No, it's just no. I didn't mean to roll that. I just started my mouse. I'm just rolling a d10. Yeah, I will call DD first.
Okay.
And tell him about the gig. And tell him that I'm getting the gang together because Renegade is playing, and he and I had talked about the fun gig, and I would like to hear your ideas about how we could spice that up.
Yeah, because
I got a Tootsie Roll. It's got to warm up. I tried to eat this the other day. It gets so cold in the refrigerator. It's just unedible. It's just so hard on the teeth. I got a soda, and I'm going to pop some popcorn while we watch this.
Yeah, then I call Dozer after I called Dee. That was what
I'll show you. A cold Tootsie Roll.
Okay. Well, this
is about one of the hardest things to eat.
If you caught him first, maybe he would have. Well, he's still fighting you, so. Yeah, you need to.
It's like bending steel.
One more turn of fighting here, and you're going to hear your phone going off, your agent going off. So.
Oh, crap. That's fun.
He's going to go for
it can warm up in my mouth.
Let's go roll a d10. He's got a 14. Does he beat you? Evasion. So, same. So, defender wins. So, you evade barely his punch. And you hear your agent going off. And it's you've given it to him. You've given it to him, so he's seeing the agent off. Now he's distracted. Like, he's, what the fuck? And, yes, there is a bit of meta here. I'll accept that. Agents you can activate with your voice. But, again, whatever you want to do with this knowledge.
I, accept the call.
Alright, so he's got it in his little sleep pocket here, your agent, and you just sort of like, you see the hollow like sort of lighting up, and who's calling you? So it's Blue Jay, so does Blue Jay accept? Because he's going to accept the call of Dozer. Blue Jay?
You need to
Everything.
Yeah, no, sir.
Oh.
What's up?
Hey, dude, I got a gun in my face. Come over here, please.
What?
Now.
Who the fuck are you calling, man? Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up, man! I'm gonna fuck you up!
I turn off and call PD and tell him to the medium at the baker's place. And it's from the standoff. So Patty,
I'll bring out Lucy.
Okay, so it's gonna take you. You're kind of close to. Well, he lives in the fucked up part of Night City, but you're getting on your bikes, your vehicles. You know, I'm gonna time this via your driving skills. So let's all roll. Whoever's driving, by the way, because I know one of you is together with Renegade. Blue Jays with Renegade. So one of you drive. Yeah, so yeah, it seems like.
I will let Renegade drive my car because he's I don't know, but he's the what can we call it? Yeah, he's the rocker.
He's right. He's all about adrenaline and yeah.
So I will trust him to at least get us there quickly.
Okay. So 20 is pretty good. That's very. I mean, that's probably as quick as you can get it. But the what you get is depending on when you arrive, and there's still going to be punching going. Like there's still like a lot of action happening. But yeah,
I'll have to roll reflex.
Yeah,
I'll have to roll reflex.
I know.
That should be the same as my roll initiative, right?
It's for reflex.
Yeah,
so you
but
reflex.
it's 1d10 plus 10. Well, 1d10 plus reflex. My
Yeah,
reflex is 10.
1d10 plus. Oh, okay, yeah, 1d10 plus your rep. If you don't have a skill, then just do your base stat.
Yeah, how do I do that? Wait.
Just do so. If you see on the left side of the screen, you got the dice.
Yeah, I see it.
So you just
I see it.
1d10. Yeah, there you go. And then you just add it. I know it's 10. 14. So 14 is like down 2 turns. So we're gonna have 3 turns here with them fighting, and then we're gonna have you guys coming in like 2 turns after they come in. So
Not going to wait downstairs. I know we said we're going to meet there, but I'm
okay.
Yeah,
He's in trouble. Yeah.
I swear, man.
Yeah. So those are you. You guys are still.
I started
fighting.
eating
So
something.
last-
I immediately feel the
so
throat
you-
close
yeah.
up. I'm like, dude,
So
I'm gonna
he's
like
sort of-
die.
You still got the -3. You evaded, just successfully, just barely, and we're gonna have him. Actually, I think it's you that attacks since you've evaded. I believe it's your turn to attack him.
Yeah, then let's just do that.
Yes, so this is Dex, D10. Oh yeah, because you're your skill, so that's okay. That's a crit, and I'm not even. Well, I'm just gonna roll quickly. Okay, you fucked it up miserably. So you get a crit, right? So you get a crit, which means you roll, and I believe this is right. You roll twice for damage. So it's not like double your damage; it's twice the damage. So you roll. Whatever your damage is for your melee, it could be 2d6 maybe, or 3d6, I don't know.
2d6.
But 2d6, you roll 2d6 twice. And you can actually do that on the thing as well. So 13, right, so that's 20 damage in total. So we'll give this up now. Yeah, he is not doing well. He looks like he's seriously wounded. Not looking good. It's a ripper you've got, so you're just punching in the face, giving him hooks, like one hook and then an uppercut. He's looking badly hurt. Yeah, he's not doing too well. I did take a kind of modifier, but that's fine because you got a crit, so and he would never have gotten that. So he's looking very badly injured, and if he tries an attack, if he tries to attack you, he's gonna have a modifier himself. And if he's seriously wounded, I think it's -2 or 3.
I remember playing D&D or trying to play D&D as a kid.
-3.
I think it's -3.
It was like
-2 for seriously wounded.
-3.
-3.
it was way before any of like the bad videos with men and women and stuff on it and stuff like that. But
Yeah, see the
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like transversed into basic like bad pornography and stuff. Stuff you hear about people in like homes and stuff like that.
Live it's -5.
On movies and stuff that pops out of nowhere and stuff like that. But I mean,
he's very injured.
but in terms of like a game board when you're playing as a kid, like they had all the fantasy. I mean, you had J.R.R. Tolkien. They did the Hobbit books, right? And kids that would read the Hobbit books, okay, which is now Lord of the Rings, which is sort of this medieval fantasy, okay. And then offset from that, right, which was basically the same thing. When you looked at the cover of a J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, I don't remember it being a book. There was another one. They did a movie a few years ago. I can't remember the name. But kids were into fantasy, and they'd read it, and it kind of extended into kind of medieval fantasy and dungeons and castles and knighthood and Prince of Thieves, Robin Hood and everything. And so, there was also like game books that were like Dungeons and Dragon game books. And today when we think of people that play Dungeons and Dragons, you talk about kids that act out violently in public, right? They're into Dungeons and Dragons. But when I was growing up, it was heavy metal. If someone was into heavy metal, they listened to some rugged heavy metal band and they played the record backwards and it gave them demonic sounds and voices. And then they exhibited violence. It was not the Dungeons and Dragons dice throwing game, and the playbooks and the guidebooks and all the hobby and game stores and stuff. And so people that played, all this stuff you see with Final Fantasy, the hit points, the magic, the spells, you would have like a knight. Maybe I don't know if you'd have a knight, but maybe you would have you needed to have a wizard that could do spells. And so a lot of this stuff, when you started playing Dungeons & Dragons or D&D, however it was, you did not have, sort of the more public depictions of what you would see on the cover of a Quiet Riot album, okay? It was sort of separate, but maybe some people knew that, there was, people calling stuff like that with leather and zippers and everything a dungeon, right? But in terms of a fantasy book, it was more like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. It was like part of The Hobbit, And so I don't remember the characters and stuff. And even then, sort of, as that sort of separated, but kind of came together near the end of the 90s, you had Magic the Gathering, the card game, which is a fantasy card game, which was sort of the medieval fantasy as well. But all the stuff you see in the video games, for the role-playing games, not the first-person shooter, the role-playing games, was pretty much all brought or assisted from Dungeons and Dragons role-playing books. The hit points, HP, your EXP, your experience points, all that stuff is from the dice rolling games. And so you pretty much had this. You had 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys, and one guy would be a DM, a dungeon master, whatever, and he was supposed to know all the parts of the games and everything, and it basically became kind of like a theoretical, verbal problem solving, right? And so sometimes and they'd sort of be passed from maybe person to person or something, where he would say, okay, we have a room like this. Sometimes you didn't even have a game board; you just had a guidebook with the hit points and the experience points and your character, and you build a character, right? And you'd sort of talk through okay, are you going to get chainmail armor? Are you going to have leather armor? Or chainmail? Do you want a sword or a broadsword or an axe or a dagger or whatever? A lot of this stuff is in these games, that you play, now on a video game, which at the time didn't exist. As I said in other posts, you didn't really have, any of the games on the Nintendo. You have Super Mario Brothers, you had Donkey Kong, which was pretty much sort of like people and animals, right? You didn't really have that medieval type of fantasy, build the castle stuff. You did on some other on computer games, but not necessarily the consoles and stuff. And so it was sort of like this, except you were like, 10, 11, 12 years old, right? And so, you'd say, well, what's the problem we're trying to solve? Are we trying to get into the castle, right? Or maybe, after like an hour of like talking and eating popcorn and stuff, you say, the DM said you got to go around the castle because the only way to get into the entrance of the castle is on the other side, and nobody figured that out or whatever, and they've just sort of been walking around, and like using experience points and stuff, because sometimes you used experience points, and when you ran out of them, it was sort of like the game was over with. Now you build experience points by defeating other creatures and spells and stuff. And so a lot of times it was like sort of a theoretical type of like discussion, but a lot of people didn't really know like necessarily what they were talking about. They kind of, I don't want to say poop-pod and stuff like that, but it was like, okay, and like, and each person would kind of give like their own impression, like, well, how about if we like, craft a fire, or, can we try to like find crystals in the ground, or, or somebody would say like, why can't we like dig with a shovel? And they're like, well, because back then like the shovel didn't exist, you would have a staff to fight someone, and you would need a spell or a potion, there was no invention of shovels in Dungeons and Dragons, so you couldn't like dig a hole or dig, something to try to build something, or sometimes you would come upon like a hill or something, or like a stone structure. Like, well, how do I get up and over it? You're like, well, maybe we could dig and put dirt on it and climb over it like a hill or something. And so you don't have a shovel, you can't do that or whatever, And how do you build fire, in a medieval, sense, right? You don't have the matches, you don't have newspaper, you don't have kindling, little dried pieces of wood, right? Like how would you do that in a medieval world, and then somebody would say like, well, is there like a, are there witches, or no, there's no witches in this, or right, or, there's like, different levels, and how would you get a bow and arrow? Do you make one, or do you buy one with gold pieces, And so, you'd say, okay, well, you have 50 gold pieces. Can you defeat this character? How do you get into this castle or this dungeon, area or something? If you go in the forest and you don't have a horse, you'll get defeated by goblins and stuff like that, which is still sort of in this too, But even today, people kind of let it go, I guess, because what happens is it becomes kind of like this fantastical thing with like, this guy all of a sudden said, like, there's this new type of character or something. It's not in the book, or, like all this kind of stuff, because it's very freeform, right? I don't want to be rude, but in some ways it would, when people got to be older, like when I got to be older, like sometimes it was a little bit like, sort of like what you could call like a brainstorming session, or like some type of loose business meeting, where people are kind of like, there's not necessarily like an existing project, that or like a technology that has to be deployed or anything. It was sort of like people kind of like talking and like figuring stuff out. But even as kids and stuff, you would look in the book and say, well, how does that exist? Let's build a character. So a lot of times you'd spend maybe like 30, 45 minutes or an hour and a half just like building a character and talking, right? And then something would happen, like somebody's mom would come home, or she'd say, "Oh, do you guys want a snack, or I got cookies or bread or whatever." You'd be like, "Oh, okay, whatever, and then eventually you got more into the video games, the video game consoles, right? We look at the books, and all that stuff. But now I guess they're still doing it with like, some of the Cyberpunk stuff. with the futuristic, which you don't see. And these guys are obviously, older. They're, older doing this stuff.
Voiceover. I don't think you heard that. That was before.
And we do all that stuff too, like, like, it was almost like the movie Speed, where Keanu Reeves is saying, like, what would you do? Like, you're in an elevator shaft, like, the bomb's gonna go off, you have 30 seconds, like, what do? Like, you climb down the elevator shaft, the whole thing, like, what do? And it kind of got into that too, just like kids, like, sitting around, like, how would you defeat this character? Would you use a spell or some type of new weapon or whatever? Stuff like that. So.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. You can do a group chat.
Then I call Dozer again.
Yeah, you can call Dozer.
Yeah, I think I picked my agent up from the pocket of the guy laying on the floor.
Yeah, you can see it ringing in his jacket pocket.
Yeah, hey, you guys are late.
Don't tell me I'm his partner.
He's on the counter is on the at the site. We don't know your apartment number. Me and Renegade is on our way, and we want to sit rep.
I got that one guy down. It's apartment 127.
Okay, I'm gonna ping this for you. You can see the door. So you see 127 is this door right here.
But he yelled out when I started punching back, so there might be someone around. Not sure though, that just was tricked. I mean, he tricked me before. Not going into that.
So Connor is going to move slightly into the corridor, but with his shotgun very obviously in his hands and looking to see if there's anybody else loitering in this corridor.
Okay. So around about here.
Yeah.
Alright, this is gonna be a roll somewhere. And it's gonna counter your roll, and it's gonna be a bit of a weird one. Let's see if I can pull this up. I think it's a dex one, so yeah. 18. So he's doing that to you, so you need to roll dex. You need to get higher. That's a dex stat, by the way, stealth.
Okay.
So you need to counter this, and he's doing it to you. So he's trying to come over to you. Somebody is.
So I'm rolling perception, am I?
You need to roll. I think it is perception to actually see someone and stuff. So yeah, I think it's that. Again, it's a bit bloody, but I would assume so because you want to see where it is. 19. So you see this cretin right up behind you, and he's got. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's got a heavy pistol aiming at you.
Okay. Dave is going to, as I kind of hear him come up behind me, I'm going to try to, like, drop slightly out of the way, spin around, and bring my shotgun up to his chest.
Okay, so that says you're swapping a weapon out. Now,
So,
that
I've
is,
already got my shotgun.
oh, you already got the shotgun. Okay, that's fine.
I want you to disarm.
Corridor with.
Okay,
A reversal disarm.
yeah. So you get your shotgun out. So you spotted him first. So you can.
You got to know the terms. The terms get technical.
I think you still need to do initiation. I would say so. Yeah. You do initiation.
Because I don't think they knows if the person behind him. Oh, they did say he's got a weapon pointed at him. But he doesn't want to disarm him. He wants to do a reversal face to face. Both people have guns.
And if you put the head, it's a -3. It does.
It looks like they'll both shoot.
I think it's double damage. No.
If he doesn't have enough hit points, he'll be defeated.
I mean, to the head is -6.
That's a -6.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. So Clay's still gonna do it. I'm just trying to look on the sheet here. It should be here somewhere. Actually, I don't think I see it on the sheet. Well, okay, so he's got -6. All right, so I'm just gonna roll. Mr. The marksmanship. -6, 11.
Okay, and
So
I
you
have
need to carry that.
yeah, I have a reflex of 9, so I can make an evasion roll. So as I
There you
kind of
go.
drop,
Okay.
as I drop down and span around.
Looks like he's gonna go for an extra point roll.
Thanks.
$18, good. Like 11, yeah. So, yep, you just sort of pick your head back, bang, and then just goes like right across the hallway. That makes a lot of noise. And actually, I think Blue Jay and
See, he's calling things. He's gonna
Renegade
adjust the
might
game
heard
now.
that. They should be quite near. They'll be at the bottom of the stairwell at this point.
Okay.
So do they just rush over as soon as possible?
Well, as I'm a little lightheaded anyway, I draw my pistol and I start running up.
Okay. I'll let you control. And is Blue Jay right behind him, or is Blue Jay can stay
Yeah.
behind? Alright, Blue Jay's here.
Yeah, I'm behind and covering our ass as we move up.
Alright, good. So, yeah, you hear this commotion and what's happening. And yeah, you just hear the bullet go off and just strike the wall, and it kind of echoes down the hallway. Yeah, so I think those are, yeah. Sorry, not those are. Dee can try and get this guy again, or try and go melee or shoot this guy.
Now I've got the shotgun pointed at him, so I'm just going to unload the shotgun into his chest. Can I spend 2 points of luck? Because I want to make sure this shotgun.
Yes, you can. You can. And by the way, for ammo, with the shotgun, you have like
2.
I want to say
4?
you've got 8 shells.
Oh, all right.
8 shells ready to go. You didn't really bring any standard stuff. You can, I guess you can afford them. But yeah, you got 8 shells.
Marksman.
And there's a distance as well, but you're right next to him, so like it would be a low one. I think yeah, range to hit, so shotgun. So yeah, it's 15, so you get that, and he can't dodge that, so you roll for damage. And by the way, shotgun is now here's the problem I have. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Now I'm gonna take that away. So in my last game that we did, my other one shot that I did, shotguns and semi-automatics like assault rifles. Shotguns have no benefits, like literally no benefits unless you homebrew like the range, right? So there's no, it's literally just a 4d6. Like the assault rifle is the exact same, and you could do it's an automatic as well, fire. So again, that's just for future reference. Like in the core rulebook, it's not going to be like this. Shotguns are going to be better.
So the shotgun in red, in this, looks like it is it's 5d6. So it is
5d6.
Yeah.
Is it more damage then?
No, sort of
I think
like
they're-
a shotgun, about 5d6.
Both
Basically
sorry,
talking about
yeah,
whether
yeah,
weapons
same damage,
discharge or
you
not.
You get the point. There's if you had a assault rifle, and this is kind of overpowered, and usually
I think
know
red would
people
mean
do
it
semi-automatic.
automatically does.
So
But
if
he
you
was
like
talking
to
about
shoot
it like a
somebody,
decline of the value
Yeah, I think it's
of the weapons.
2 more than the range. You get another 2 shots.
Yeah.
So that's 5d6 damage, like 3 5d6. That's a lot of damage. And But yeah, with a shotgun, I guess. I mean, this is fine, obviously.
That's really a
lot
difference.
more range. Well, shotgun just it's
When I was growing up as a kid,
rifle also has more range, and it's the same damage.
we're talking about
shotgun,
playing like.
unfortunate. Like
I don't really know what the term was, but
I'm too lazy.
maybe it was called a one shot or.
Like a range
I mean, later in games they use different terms, but
you can hit more people
where
with it. Like I assume so.
if the gun is fired within a certain 10 feet or range or a 10 or whatever, then that character was immediately defeated if it was a one shot.
No armor.
You didn't work down the hit points with a roll
So
because you said whatever these weapons are in the game,
This guy has
it was
armor.
just a one shot.
And so armor. So
And I don't know if they're talking about that now,
armor works
but
in
now
this
they might
game.
talk about
It needs to go
he
through
referenced red,
stopping fire.
which
And if
means
it does,
there's no
then you
technical
take
problem with the
away
weapon.
from that, and then you minus it. By
I think
one,
that's
so
right.
You shot him in the body, so that -1 for his armor on his.
But they're
body.
also using hit
He's
points.
right leather armor. He's got 3 now. But then that kind of stops a little bit of the damage, right? So that's 18 minus 4, so that's 14. So he takes 14 damage, but now his armor is permanently -1 on the body, so it's now 3. So that's how stopping power works. That's just a little thing. Now you're looking at him. You just blasted this fool, and now he's like he's almost like he's just getting it together. Like he's not quite seriously wounded, but like he's taken a hell of a gut punch here. Like a hell of a. But the armor sort of helped him to not like he's not quite bleeding, but there might be some internal bleeding. Like this guy's very badly hurt, and you have 7 shells left. And now at this point, because these guys are coming in. They're not quite in yet, so he's gonna go ahead and try and shoot you. He's gonna go for the body. And he's gonna roll his ref. And you've got evasion. I'm assuming you're evading this. So if you could get that, but you're going to evade this. So if you succeed. Ooh, so he does get it. He's got his very heavy pistol aiming right at you. And he's gonna roll his damage. 19. So you've got, I don't know what your armor is by the way, but I'm pretty sure it's decent. I would assume.
Yeah, I'm very lucky in that I'm wearing heavy armor jack, which is 15, so I only actually take
15.
4.
Yes. So and so once you've taken that away, then you -1. Yeah. So that sounds complicated, but it isn't. It's very easy. Like as long as it goes through the armor, just so that everyone understands like how the combat works. Just if it goes through the stopping power, then you take away that from the damage, and then it's -1 after. If he shoots you in the body, for example, you take the body part. It's the head part. It takes -1 off the head part. It has to go through the stopping power, and then you take the rest away from your health, your starting HP. So only 4 damage.
Yeah, and so as that kind of like my armor takes the vast majority of that heavy pistol blow, I'm obviously going to grunt and like not
Yeah.
badly. Right?
So yeah, you
But then I'm just going to give him a really wicked smile.
yeah, he was against the wall, so like he's kind of like just pushed against it. Like he couldn't really go far back. Otherwise, if it was a really bad hit, he probably would have got knocked out by that. But the shotgun's a very powerful weapon. But yeah, he kind of just bang, very heavy pistol, just sort of chips your heavy armor. Kind of surprises you. A lot of damage for this gun. But not.
Give him a friendly grin.
Yeah, I'm going to say everyone roll initiative because we've got these guys coming in as well. They've got their weapons. So I would say since these guys are coming in, they got to roll initiative as well, right? So we've got new people in the turn order. So, okay, 19. Yeah, I'd say everyone rolls initiative at this point. I'm going to roll for him. Because new people coming in is kind of weird. Like, I'm just going to reset it.
Sorry, I've received Blue Jay's token, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was confused.
All right, I'm gonna go.
But it's actually pretty cool because I've.
Looks like she said she's making some type of a meat, some type of meat mixture in a dough, cooked baked
Right.
dough type thing.
That was awesome. To be honest, it was probably for the best if you're fighting COVID. Or we were not fighting COVID, but like it was probably for the best while COVID was going around that we didn't eat. Not to say I had.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try to find Stadia. I'm gonna see if Stadia is on Roku. Because I just. Oh man, I pressed that wrong. I keep double clicking this. Stadia. Okay, more Android devices. We'll watch TechX. Okay, we'll add the channel. Let's see if it goes to the article or not, or if it spins out.
Hi, I'm Miss America 2020 Camille Schreier, and I'm asking you to join me in support of the DEA's Take Back Day on Saturday, October 24th. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Visit DEATakeback.com. That's DEATakeback.com.
This is Leah. Leah uses Love Beauty and Planet body wash to get glowing skin with naturally derived ingredients. So Leah shows herself some self-care.
I'm getting mandatory commercials now. I can mute. So, I said I wouldn't mute, but when you get mandatory 5, they remove the minute timer. You just mute them. All right. Yeah, see, Google. That's what I was trying to get today. I didn't even realize I messed up the whole thing. A free tier. Yeah, that's what I got on the iPhone, but I already. Yeah, I'll explain the whole thing. So, big mess up. So, somehow I was at home. I somehow got the ad or the article or whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, you know, you get these games on Stadia. You sign up for a free trial, right? I guess the way the free trials used to work, you know, it charges me $0, but in a week I need to have money. But they somehow deposit money or they withdraw money now or whatever. So I didn't have enough money to get it. So I was like, why don't I go get the Google Play gift cards at Target? I got that $10 gift card at Target. I buy the Google Play gift card for $20 or whatever because I had about $20. And then that way, you know, the Stadia being, you know, about $10 a month, right? Without tax. That means I got to have over 10. I can't just buy one $10 card. I got to buy two, you know, and if that's a month extra, I got to buy about $25 or whatever. So I was like, that's it. Because otherwise I thought, why don't I buy Google Chromecast, right? The hookup, because one of these TVs, I got to move the Amazon Fire Stick. So I buy the Google Chromecast. I think it was 20. I thought I could get a Google Chromecast if I used the $10 gift card at Target and the cash I had on hand. So I'm like, that's what I'll do. But somehow in doing that, I got the ad for Stadia because it's advertised with the rollout of Chromecast or whatever. And because Amazon Fire basically doesn't have that many, you know, games on Amazon Fire Stick anymore or whatever. I mean, they have like just, you know, they basically have the, you know, they've got a couple. They've got the Final Fantasy, they got a Star Wars game, and that's basically about it. But, and because you can't get Google Play on Amazon Fire Stick anymore, which is also an Android device, which is saying they're rolling out, I don't know, I guess that's Stadia. So you get all these kind of things. So anyway, so I was like, why don't I just get the Google Chromecast? I'll have a new system. I'll put that here, I'll put that there. It'll be sort of easy to use. And then I can play the games. But I got the Stadia ad. So I go into the Stadia. I try to order the free trial, but it's not free because you somehow have to have money on your debit or credit card or whatever because the charge won't go through. So I go buy the gift cards. I mean, the same thing happened with trying to time my payments with Sirius Radio and stuff. You buy the gift card to make the payment. They don't accept the gift card. It doesn't make any sense at all. So, you know, like a prepaid Visa card. They don't accept the prepaid Visa. So you're like, is it a banking card? Is it part of the banking system, right? Is it a lottery ticket? I mean, what is it, you know? So I go to Target. I get the card. The scratchers are not real scratchers. They're peelers that also scratch because, and I'll give beef on this. Whoever invented the scratcher, right? Whatever their intention was for that gray sort of scratch, it all went to the lottery tickets. So whatever it was supposed to be used for, it went to Lotto. So now when you try to do a prepaid Visa card, or a prepaid Google card, or a prepaid Amazon card, or a prepaid Target card, you don't have the actual scratcher. You have a label that also sort of chips and scratches too. Because you can't use it on the banking cards because it's used for lotto tickets. But the banking cards are now acting like lotto tickets because they don't work to make payments. You can't pay on the day you're supposed to pay for the radio subscription. You can't make payments for a free trial, you know, and so it just ends up being like, I don't know what they are. You know, if they're lotto tickets that you buy with credit, you know, that have credit on them, you should be able to use the scratch off that they use on the lotto tickets. If they're part of the banking system, then you should be able to make payments for, you know, radio subscriptions and free trials when, you know, your debit or your credit card isn't able to make the charge. So anyway, so I'm trying to remember what it was. So then, after figuring it out, I had loaded one $10 card on Google Play. I already had a second Google card, which I couldn't replace. I can't take it back anyway. I had to load it onto Google. And I had about $6 left. And I can't actually buy anything. Because I can't buy the Stadia because I won't accept the Google Play, which I have $20 on. I can't buy the Chromecast at Target because I don't have enough with a $10 gift card and the $6 I have. Tomorrow is Amazon Prime Day. I have some type of credit and possibly an additional credit if I buy from Amazon. So I did the best thing I could because I didn't really have any cash on Amazon. And if Google Play isn't accepting any debit or credit, even for free trial, for a zero charge payment, right, then I have to go put money on Amazon. And the minimum to put cash on Amazon is $5. So you might as well just put what you can on Amazon. And it's Sunday, no, it's Monday, and I have no cash. And after I bought the Play cards, right, the Google Play cards, the Google Play gift cards or whatever, I could either try to buy extremely discounted meat or look for like that, amazing coupon. But I pretty much already got an amazing coupon last week. So I'm not going to get another amazing coupon today to go buy meat. And, the whole day is just totally, everything just kind of goes haywire. It's like, I go up to the casino, because I said, I drove around because I'm like, it's better to just go to the grocery store tomorrow. The 20 some dollars I have, I can buy meat, maybe some onions or some peppers, and cook at home and eat at home. So that's what I did. I went up there. I didn't play very much at all. Barely, if anything, didn't lose any money. Came home. It was late. I went to bed, right? I get up, and I'm thinking, I eat some breakfast or whatever. But somehow I was thinking about, having this game console and that game console and Prime Day tomorrow. I'm like, I'm probably going to want to try to use the credit on Amazon for Prime Day tomorrow. And through buying everything, I have this $10 card on Target. So I'm sitting down, I'm talking to my mom or whatever, I'm thinking about what to eat. I'm like, is the meat going to be good? Is the meat not going to be good? Sometimes I buy the meat, I buy it the same meat a week later, I get sick or I don't feel good. So I'm like, why don't I just go to Target and see if I can spend this $10 gift card? I get the ad for Stadia, I go to Chromecast. I'm like, oh, I can go buy this. Instead of buying it, I'll just go get the cards and get this free trial, and then I can try out all these games and I'll have a new subscription. But the whole thing just totally falls apart, and 2 or 3 hours later at 10 o'clock in the morning, I have to put the rest of the money I have on Amazon for Prime Day tomorrow. I have 2 cards that I probably can't use anymore because the individual games are $20 or $30 or whatever. And I still can't make a zero charge on my debit or credit for a free trial. And I probably owe on iCloud too, because you can't get I don't know. I don't think you can get the prepaid card either, because if the prepaid cards aren't working for Sirius satellite radio, they're probably not going to work for, whatever your services with Apple are either. And then by that time you're like, I got way too many subscriptions anyway. No wonder I filed bankruptcy. I'm not trying to be flippant. It's just, all the subscriptions and stuff. I can't pay them on time. That's why I was worried about Sirius. Sirius, they'll cut the radio, they'll go into collections or whatever. It becomes a big problem. I got to spend the extra $4 to get the prepaid card so I can pay on time. So I spend the extra $4 on the prepaid card. I load it up, and it doesn't click through on the payment date. So I'm late on the payment. So then because I'm late on the payment and I have some extra prepaid card I end up using, I've already lost the $4 banking fee, the prepaid fee. Maybe it's not a banking fee. And then I end up having 2 payments within 1 month. So the subscription amount that I pay goes way up within a month period. So I'll see. I don't even think, I've already know. I was online, and you got to do some, it's like whatever they used to call the iPhone, unbreaking or jailbreaking the iPhone. If you want certain apps or whatever, I think iPhone 3, iPhone 4, they start coming out with a jailbreak. You press the buttons, you hold the buttons, then you get a new app store that's like not an Apple iStore or whatever. They're talking about the same thing with the Fire Stick. You got to try to get Google Play. They don't recommend it. It's an ATK download or install or whatever. You're like, why not just use the system that it came with? When I was growing up, we'd say it's a nice day on the weekend as you're a kid, a teenager. Instead of installing that operating system on your desktop PC or tower PC, just go outside and ride bikes or have fun or play baseball or whatever. So anyhow, I'm going to end there. I don't want to go too long. I started it out as like the Cyberpunk Dungeons & Dragons or whatever. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.